So, friends, Dela, Jinkx, hello, how are you?
Doing well. Glad to be here. Making Christmas, you know.
In.
The
No
holidays.
complaints.
Well, yeah, neither of you have anything to complain about because this,
Well, we have things to complain
well,
about, but
sure,
let's be honest.
we all have some things we can complain about, but I do want to say I love that you're coming back obviously with the holiday show, which is an annual tradition for so many people, but also that it's kind of new and different this year. Dela, I want to start with you. What is different about the show this year?
Well, we set a mighty task for ourselves when we started doing this 8 years ago, which is that we would never perform the same show any given year, So we have been having to come up with creative ways to approach Christmas year after year after year. And, the more times you do it, the more wild and creative you have to get in terms of figuring out how you're going to have a new approach to candy canes or whatever, So over the years, we have collected a lot of ideas that have never made it into any of the shows, either because they just didn't fit with what we were doing that year, or because they weren't necessarily like a full show premise. And so this year we have pulled some of those out of the vault, and we have created some new stuff. And Jinkx and Dela this year are going to have to try to put on their annual holiday variety show while being subject to their own anthology. So there are 4 different plots of the show this year, and very Tales from the Crypt, Twilight Zone style surrealist shenanigans that Jinkx and Dela will have to wade their way through while trying to entertain an audience and tell jokes about candy canes.
I love that. Jinkx, what are you looking forward to about the show this year?
Yeah, like Dayla said, a lot of the premises for this anthology are coming from our vault of ideas that never saw the light of day. And one of these ideas is something I've pushed for many years, which is a Freaky Friday premise. And Dayla has had valid reasons why we couldn't do a 2-hour show
Or
playing one
shouldn't.
another.
Couldn't
And
or shouldn't.
That's why I said they were valid reasons. Um, so, but we have found that it's something that we could easily do for about, 15, 20 minutes, and the audience should enjoy that length of us playing one another. Because, I mean, it sounds self-indulgent, but it's the truth, you know. You come to see the Jinkx and Dela holiday show to watch us do our best work, and we always do inspire one another's best work. I always say I do my best work alongside Dela, um, uh, in our personas, like this is me doing drag at my very best. And I'm very proud of what we've cultivated. So, Freaky Friday feels like a no brainer this year, but we've got 3 other premises that are going to really, I think, really satisfy our audiences. And I'm someone who likes to satisfy as many people as I possibly can.
Yes, yes. I think we know. Yes, and you do often. I will say though, and I have a question about the Freaky Friday of it all, but I do, before we even get to that, you touch on a point that I think is so interesting. Both of you are so successful on your own, separate from one another, but when you come together, there is something that is kind of magical between the two of you. So I want to know, Dela, what do you think it is about your partnership with Jinkx that really sort of brings out the best in BenDeLaCreme?
Yeah, I think it comes from uh, I think there is just a synchronicity. I think as soon as Jinkx and I met each other, we were like, whoa, wow, that creature is the same species as me, and I've never met another one, right? Like there's a certain amount of recognition that is just there is a natural Venn diagram between the two of us in terms of our sensibilities, in terms of our abilities, and the the time we've known each other, the amount of work we've made together, I think just there is a trust and there is a deep knowing, a vulnerability we have with each other that just allows us to have a certain kind of relationship that people hook into. Like, we work really hard at our craft, we work really hard at our friendship, and uh and and I think that there is just something that we found when we first started sharing the stage together that people just responded to. And I don't want to question it too hard. I don't want to scare it away.
Don't
But
jinx it. Hey,
but yeah, I mean, it is both something that came very naturally and that we've worked very hard to cultivate.
for sure. Jinx, do you want to add to that?
Just that, it does. It takes work, A lot of it comes naturally. But since you mentioned it, we are both successful on our own. And Dela mentioned sharing a stage. And I want to put special emphasis on we share the stage with one another. And it's not often that two larger than life personalities can find a way to equally share the flowers and the kudos and the compliments. But we make the active choice every year to be on the same team,
Yeah.
on stage and off stage. And we make the active choice to work against outside influences that would try to turn us against one another or compete us against one another. Because the truth is, we're doing fine loving each other. We're doing fine without the competition. We're doing great supporting one another up, holding one another up and helping us be our best. So, Dela said trust, and I think that's the number one thing is like, I trust that when I share the stage with her, she's going to share the stage back with me, you know?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Well, go ahead, Ben.
Oh, I
sorry,
just,
Dela. Sorry.
I feel like it's like the thing that I think we're both so used to that I was like, oh, right. Yeah. And this is the odd couple dynamic that our characters have. Right. And so it's like all of that trust and everything we just talked about exists within us as performers and writers and creators. But we also just kind of found, I think, a magical little, like, we have the characters, we have created them in a way where they perfectly fit into each other's worlds and set each other off and support each other. And it is the very classic, Lucy and Ethel, Walter Matthau and Jack Lemmon. It's right. Like it's a very
Ren and
classic
Stimpy.
dynamic.
Yeah.
Ren and Stimpy. It's a very classic dynamic
Bert and
that I
Ernie.
think that we have like harnessed and just fits us really well. And it just is such a great playground. That's just a wonderful place to be able to play from.
Yeah.
Joining the ranks of such greats as Cat Dog and
Yes.
Pinky and the Brain.
Oh, yes. I love. Well, I mean, I don't want to like wax poetic a little bit, but there is something I think very special about the two of you and your friendship during the holiday time and I'm speaking for the queer community, oftentimes separated from family, oftentimes having to spend the holidays, a really emotional time of the year for a lot of people, but particularly with their chosen families, and to be able to have a tradition that belongs to two friends that also are building something together, a tradition for each other, for your own friendship. There must be something there. That's something that stands out to me. And I think a lot of people respond to that when they come to the show year after year. And I want to know if either of you would speak to that.
Well, I think we do a lot of teasing of one another. Excuse me. And that's always been a part of our comedy dynamic is kind of poking fun at each other. But it always comes from a place of deep respect for one another because as artists, we see one another as like the tops. I'm one of Dela's biggest fans, and I believe vice versa. We've seen
Well, Jinkx, we have
everything
something
we
to tell you
can.
now today. Some news.
But Dela's seen as much as my solo work as she can, and I've seen as much of hers, and we bring each other into our individual projects all the time. But this is our annual thing that we do together, and it comes. We're able to go as far with the themes that we explore because the respect is so strong. Like, we're able to explore the things about one another or about ourselves that we normally wouldn't feel comfortable sharing on stage, but we've created a world in which it's a safe space for our characters to talk about their vulnerabilities and talk about what they're scared about, but maintain that unapologetic belief in themselves that every drag queen must have to survive.
Yes. Dela, do you
And
want to add to that?
Yeah, just that feeling of like a tradition, and I mean that was always so much the intention going in, and Jinkx and I have had our own separate experiences with the holidays from childhood and through the years, but I know that for me, I started doing. I mean, I've been doing holiday stuff before. Jinkx actually was a part of some of my holiday work before we started doing this show. But when I started doing that, which was at this point 18 years ago, which feels like it cannot be right, but is, it was part of it was because I disliked going home for the holidays so much. I needed an excuse not to go. And so it kind of came out of that to start creating holiday work. And then and quickly within a year developed into, oh, this is how we create new spaces. This is how we reclaim family and homecoming. This is how we don't feel alienated from the Hallmark movies and the Rockwell cards and the whatever, and so that sentiment has just grown and grown. We've been able to expand it and see that it resonates hard with a lot of people. And so I think a lot of why this is what it is because we are creating an alternative tradition for people and for ourselves, and I think that it feels really authentic to the audience because it is just as much for us.
Yeah. Well, so speaking of this, the new show, the show that's coming out this year, is there one part of it, if you had to pick one part of it that is your favorite that you can maybe tease, what would that one part be?
Well,
Well,
I
I
don't.
have a favorite part that we haven't even cleared
Oh,
for talking about with the press, but I see her shaking her head, so I can't talk about it. But it's like, as much as I've fought for Freaky Friday, there's other things I've fought for too, and this year I'm getting my way a couple of times. But of course, with Dela as the head writer, it's like, it's not just Jinkx getting her way, it's Jinkx getting her way with a purpose. And since there's 4 premises, I feel like both Dela and I are getting a lot of scratches, lots of itches scratched this year, so that next year, who knows what we'll come up with, because this year we're really like throwing everything out there.
It's true. Every year
Dela?
we really make it harder for ourselves the following year. It is. I'm always kind of mad at past me every time I start like sitting down to figure
But
out
try
what the
telling
next one's going to
past
be.
her that,
Yeah, I
try
know.
telling past her about future her's resentment.
I
And
keep forgetting that past me is going to be present me, and then or future me
they
is
are
good.
both
Anyway,
very stubborn.
This is very
All the
Doctor Who. This is
Delas
very Doctor
know
Who.
what they're doing.
but yeah, no, I actually think the section that Jinkx is probably thinking about right now is a one like that. It's an idea that the two of us have tossed around for a very long time, and we've tossed down around a lot of different versions of it, and like who these events might, like which one of us they might happen to, and this and that. And I know it's frustrating that we're not giving any details, but I really I think it is actually one of our most surprising premises. And so I'm very excited for people to see it. But also I'm going to do some musical genre this year that I'm very excited about as well. And I'm not going to tease that too hard either, but just that like I am full throttle in one of these numbers, just going into a genre that brings me absolute joy. So
Oh my God. I love that you didn't neither of you actually said the thing, because that when people now go see the show, they're going to try to figure out the thing you're referring to, and then they'll never know. They'll actually never know because, you'll never tell. Which
maybe
I love.
Maybe we can talk January 1st.
Well, buy the VIP or the meet and greet tickets, and then maybe you can ask both. Maybe the people going can ask both of you which part.
Ooh, that's good. Yeah, we'll talk about it after the show if you buy those.
Always thinking about the money.
Thank you for that.
I am. You guys do the art. I'll think about your money. But I do want to talk a little bit about this, because we referenced it before, but this incredible year both of you have had. Incredible years, I should say, both of you had. Now, full disclosure, know both of you. You've been on other things that I've done. So we're all friends. So I just want to make sure that everyone knows that I am completely biased when it comes to Dela and Jinkx. That said, Dela, you this past year, not only, of course, everyone knows BenDeLaCreme. They know your drag persona. They know your stage work. But I don't think a lot of people know that amongst even some of our friends who were on Drag Race, you've directed their live shows. You've actually actively been pursuing more and more directing this past year. And I wanted to know if you could tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot more directing. I've been doing a lot more writing for other people. I always just wrote for myself for many, many years. And I think through the work that Jinkx and I have done together, I have really found more of a passion than I knew I had for writing in other people's voices. Like, Jinkx and I write for each other a lot. And especially right now, since, I'm taking on the head writer role this year because Jinkx has been on Broadway and that keeps her a little bit busy. I mean, at this point, 8 years in, I know how to write for Jinkx. I know her character as well as I know my own. And that has really helped me to just realize this passion for developing what other people are doing to its fullest extent, and so getting to work with other queens and other performers, seeing what it is that they want to bring to the stage, that they are trying to say, that they maybe don't even quite know they're trying to say, and helping them to like tease that out and to make it the most kind of the biggest showcase of who they are and the most kind of like refined, streamlined storytelling. Working with Monet Exchange was really incredible. She came to me at the top of the process when she was first talking about doing her first solo show, sort of asking me for pointers. And just through the conversation, I was like, I want to help you write this and I want to direct it. And she really put her faith in me. She pushed herself really hard. And it was really cool to make something that I know was very different than what she would have made by herself. But hopefully you would never suspect that someone else's voice was there. You know what I mean? Like really helping people find that is what's amazing. And then, the confidence through doing some of that with other people. But, this past year, Jinkx invited me to be a co-writer and to direct her Carnegie Hall show, which is obviously no small thing. And it was, some of that other work that prepared me for it. And I also know, Jinkx talks about that, two queens with our personalities sharing the stage can be something, but also for Jinkx to trust me with helping her tell the story that she wanted to tell, to get across the sentiments, to she trusted me with the comedy, with the heart, with the and of course it's all coming from her, but I get to help her elevate it, develop it, streamline it. And that's such a beautiful thing to get to do. It's such an honor. And it also is just like so fun. I cannot believe how much fun I have taking other people's stuff and helping them make it into like the biggest, best, Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to throw more flowers at you for that, because like as performers, I don't think a lot of people realize that, of course, the person on stage gets all of the attention, and drag queens in particular will soak that shit up. But the person who is doing the grunt work of shaping a show and really helping the person on stage find their voice, my God, that is integral to anything we do. And I saw your live show at Dynasty, well, I think maybe a year ago, a year and a half ago, I forget when it was. And it was one of the best live shows. Literally, it was like watching. It was inspirational as a performer to watch, to see what I could possibly do, or even if I could do half of what you were doing on stage. Just incredible, incredible work, Dela. And I just want to
Well, thank you.
make sure
That's very
everyone listening, at least in my little corner of the world, knows that. Now, Jinkx, now, of course, Dela talked about how you are the darling of Broadway. Right now, everyone knows you are the darling of Broadway. Everything you do online goes crazy because of what you're doing on Broadway. And so I just want to know, first off, how does it feel to be one of the coolest people on the internet this past year? And secondly, how does it feel to be sort of just so in demand on Broadway?
Well, feels good.
Yeah.
But both those things, and as you were saying before, I don't do any of this alone.
Yeah.
Like I do believe that the right people saw me over the years do my best work with BenDeLaCreme, and then eventually felt like I was ready to invite into a completely different avenue of performance where I would both be in drag and not necessarily in drag. And nowadays, I get to just call myself a Broadway actress.
Yeah.
And that's no small thing as a trans woman and as a drag queen. But like everything you mentioned, like the internet of it all, that's like because I have a wonderful team who Robbie,
Yeah.
Robbie's my PR witch year round, and she helps me make the most out of every moment. Dela is a constant mentor, and she and I counsel each other through all of our big stuff, like she helps me out whenever I don't know exactly what avenue to go down next, and she's been the one to tell me just because I'm not afraid, just because I'm afraid that something's going to be difficult or something's going to be scary. That's not a good reason not to try,
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's been with me through all of it. So I only think I'm as effective of a celebrity or performer or whatever you want to call me. I am who I am because of the community I've kept close. Like Dale and I've been working together for 15 years at this point. And when I find people who get it and who care as much as I do everything I can to keep those people in my life. But it's also about keeping people around who are honest with you because, uh, that it's hard to meet people who are honest with you later in your career. It's
Yeah.
easier to keep the people who were honest with you from the beginning with you.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. For sure. Well, I want to wrap things up. And I think that sentiment is actually really applicable to the holiday show because it really does speak to the whole reason why people want to go to the holiday show. They want to feel that love of friendship and family and acceptance and feel seen and all of those things. And also just have a goddamn laugh because the world feels like it's melting every goddamn day. And so to have an hour and a half, 2 hours of two geniuses on stage doing the crazy, silly things that y'all do is just so needed. So my last question for both of you is, considering the state of the world slowly melting apart, what do you think, what do you think is the state of drag right now? Why are drag queens so important right now, in your opinions? And where do you think things are going in the near future? And you don't have to talk global, but I'm just talking about in the near future. Where do you think things should be going? Dale, I'll start with you.
Well, I mean, I feel like through the years I answer this similarly because it is truly what I believe, and it's why drag called to me. It's why I clicked with drag when I found it. It's why drag was an inspiration and a saving grace for me, you know, which is that the history of drag is interwoven with cultural trauma and adversity, and it is a constant blooming of something beautiful and joyful out of darkness, and it flourishes best in the darkest times. And that is where we have come from. It's our legacy. It's an honor to be a part of it. It's the torch that it is our duty to carry, because that light is what the future generations of queer people need to know exists. And so, you know, I say that, like, the more we come under attack, the more we're threatened, the more somebody wants to tell us that we are, you know, don't have a place here, or that we will be pushed out. You're just throwing gas on the fire, man, because we are fucking powerful, and we always have been. And I hope that the show is just a constant reminder to the community that comes that we are a very, very strong culture who has been through a lot, and the proof is in the track record. There is literally zero evidence that we will not just make it through the dark times, but fucking sing and dance the whole damn way.
Yeah. And maybe do a Freaky Friday.
Maybe do a Freaky Friday.
Jinkx, what about you? Would you add to that?
I just think, you know, I think we have to. I didn't ask to be the center of attention on Fox News. People decided to paint a target on my head, and I decided to turn that target into a spotlight and use it for all it's worth. And that's what drag queens do. You know, we didn't ask to be pointed at and blamed for everything. But if you're going to all look at us, if someone's going to point at us and everyone's going to turn and look, we're going to take the opportunity to use your attention for the best possible outcome. And that's all I feel like I've been doing, you know? I don't intend to make anything be like a slap in someone's face, but they politicized my existence. So what can I do but keep going and do the best with what I can? And if they want, like Dela said, it's just gas on the fire. It's like the more they try to demonize me, the more everyone looks at me and says, that goofball? You're trying to tell me that goofball's trying to ruin our country? Like, she's a weirdo. Like, how could she? You know? So just being myself is how I refute those lies.
Exactly. And that's the best way to do it. So how long will the show be going on, and where can people get tickets and more information?
Let's see. Our previews begin in Charlotte in, oh my gosh, the 13th, I believe, of November. And then, we are just slamming our way across the US and Canada through the end of December. So JinxandDela.com. Jinkx made it really difficult by spelling her name with a K a long time ago, but JINKX and Dela.com. And you can check out all of our tour dates there. And we're really ping-ponging all over the place. So it is very likely we are coming to a city near you. I have just received in my earphone that it is November 12th that we open in Charlotte. So pardon that.
And of course, I'll link all show notes and everything in the show notes, all the links to everything. And of course, I'll be at the LA show because have to be. And thank you both so much for taking the time to chat with me. It's so great seeing both of your beautiful faces.
It's always a pleasure. Thank you.